strap yourselves in because we are diving deep into Andrzej Sapkowski's Season of Storms.
Oh, yeah, this one's a real page-turner.
You guys gave us some killer excerpts for this one.
Absolutely a lot to unpack here.
So, Season of Storms, it's a Witcher novel, but it's a prequel, right?
Yeah, prequel set before the main saga.
Before Ciri, before Yen.
Exactly, we're going way back in time with Geralt.
So what's the deal with this book? What's the big hook?
Well, the story kicks off with a bang. Geralt gets arrested in this place called Riedbrune.
Arrested? Geralt, what for?
Some trumped-up charges about an unpaid bill. It's ridiculous.
Bureaucracy? Even Witchers can't escape it, I guess.
Nope. And to make matters worse, his swords get stolen.
No way. His swords. A Witcher without his swords.
Yeah, talk about starting off on the wrong foot.
So what does he do? Punch his way out of jail?
Well, he does get into a brawl with the guards, but he uses the Ardlard sign to send them flying.
Artard sign. Even without his swords, he's still got some tricks up his sleeve.
Oh, absolutely. Geralt's a force to be reckoned with even without his trusty blades. He's a master of signs, a skilled fighter, incredibly resourceful.
Okay, but those swords, they're pretty important to a Witcher.
You could say that they're kind of his trademark.
So he can't just let that slide. I'm guessing getting those swords back becomes a major plot point.
Absolutely. It's a driving force for him throughout the novel.
So we've got Geralt on a quest to recover his stolen swords. Sounds like a classic setup for a Witcher story.
And along the way, he encounters a whole cast of characters, gets tangled up in some serious political intrigue, and of course battles some terrifying monsters.
Speaking of intriguing characters, there's one we haven't mentioned yet, Lytta Neyd.
Ah, yes. Lytta Neyd, also known as Coral.
I've heard she's a powerful sorceress.
And she has a history with Geralt, right?
Their relationship is complicated, to say the least.
Complicated in a good way or a bad way.
Let's just say there's a lot of chemistry between them, but also a lot of tension.
Ah, so there's a romantic element to this story. There's definitely an attraction there. But it's more than just romance. Coral is constantly challenging Geralt, testing his limits.
In what way?
Well, there's this one scene where she's wearing a completely sheer black dress.
Oh, wow. Trying to get a rise out of him, is she?
Exactly. She knows how to push his buttons, and Geralt, being Geralt, he tries to maintain his composure.
That Witcher stoicism.
Yeah.
Gotta stay cool under pressure, right?
But even a Witcher is only human.
So Coral, is she like an antagonist or an ally to Geralt?
It's hard to say. She's a bit of both. She helps him out at times, but she also has her own agenda.
Sounds like a classic sorceress.
Mm-hmm.
Always playing their own game.
And she's not afraid to use her power to get what she wants.
Okay, so we've got Geralt swordless on a quest to recover his blades and entangled with a powerful sorceress who may or may not be on his side.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Really? There's more.
Oh yeah, we haven't even touched on the political turmoil brewing in the kingdom of Karak, the mysterious figure known as Pratt, or the horrifying case of the energumen.
Well, let's slow down an argument. What's that?
It's a person possessed by a demon, and it's causing all sorts of chaos.
So we've got demons, political intrigue, and a seductive sorceress. This is shaping up to be a classic Geralt adventure.
It's a roller coaster ride from start to finish.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. We're going to have to dive deeper into all of this. But for now, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back to uncover more secrets of Season of Storms. Okay, so we've left off with Geralt swordless, on the hunt for his stolen blades, tangled up with a powerful sorceress, and caught in the middle of some serious political turmoil.
Yeah, Season of Storms doesn't let up on the action, that's for sure.
We're about to dive into the Boar City auction house, where Geralt's swords are supposed to be sold.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
What's the deal with this auction house?
Well, it's the place to be if you're looking for rare and exotic items, magical artifacts, ancient relics, you name it.
So kind of like a high-class flea market for the magical elite.
Basically, except with a lot more danger and intrigue.
Sounds like Geralt's going to have his work cut out for him trying to blend into that crowd.
Especially without his swords. He's going to have to rely on his wits and his charm.
Speaking of charm, let's talk about Coral for a second. That scene with the sheer black dress you mentioned before?
Oh yeah, Coral knows how to make an entrance.
She's definitely playing with fire there. Testing Geralt's limits.
And she's not the only one pushing boundaries.
What do you mean?
Well, remember we talked about that sorcerer, Harlan Zara, the one investigating the energumen case?
Yeah, he seemed a little shady.
He's definitely got a dark side. He's obsessed with understanding mutations, and he's not afraid to use some pretty unethical methods to get what he wants.
Like what?
Well, there's this one scene where he performs a gruesome experiment on a young girl.
Oh, God. That's messed up.
Yeah, it's a reminder that magic can be just as dangerous as any sword.
And Gerald's caught in the middle of all of this.
He's trying to do the right thing, but it's not always clear what that is.
It's like every step forward he takes leads to 2 steps back.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, he stumbles upon a group of merchants who are involved in some pretty shady dealings.
Like what? Smuggling. Blackmail.
Worse, they're trafficking humans.
Oh, wow. Gerald can't catch a break, can he?
Nope. But that's what makes him such a compelling character. He's constantly facing moral dilemmas, forced to make tough choices.
So what does he do?
He does what he always does.
Hmm.
He protects the innocent, even if it means putting himself at risk.
Classic Geralt. Always the hero.
But heroism often comes at a price.
Oh, you mean?
Well, Geralt's actions have consequences, sometimes unintended ones.
You know, it's interesting how Season of Storms explores the theme of power. Not just magical power, but political power as well.
Yeah, we see it with King Belahun clinging to his throne, his son Xander scheming to usurp him, and then this new player Varaxis who emerges from the shadows.
It's like a Game of Thrones, but with more monsters and magic.
Exactly. Everyone's vying for power, and Geralt's caught in the middle of it all.
So how does Geralt navigate this political minefield?
Carefully. He knows he can't trust anyone, and he has to be strategic about every move he makes.
Well, that's exhausting.
It is. But that's the life of a Witcher, always walking a tightrope between different factions, trying to stay neutral while still doing what's right.
And through it all, he never gives up on finding those stolen swords.
Those swords are more than just weapons to him. They're a symbol of his identity, his purpose.
I guess you could say they're an extension of himself.
Exactly. And without them, he feels lost, incomplete.
So the quest to recover those swords, it's about more than just getting back what was stolen. It's about reclaiming a part of himself.
Absolutely. It's a journey of self-discovery as much as it is a physical quest.
It's amazing how Sapkowski manages to weave together all these different threads, political intrigue, magical mysteries, personal struggles. It's what makes Season of Storms such a rich and rewarding read.
It's a story that stays with you long after you finish the last page.
You know, we haven't even talked about the time travel element yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Gerald gets transported to a different time period at one point.
Yeah, it's a brief but significant moment.
It's like a glimpse into Gerald's potential future.
Or maybe even a different timeline altogether.
It definitely raises some questions about destiny and the nature of time.
And it's a reminder that even in a world of fantasy, the past, the present, and the future are all interconnected.
We're going to have to unpack that a bit more. But for now, let's move on to the final act of Season of Storms. The stakes are higher than ever, the tension is building, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Okay, so last time we left off with Geralt still hunting for those swords, and Karak in chaos under Varaxis.
You know, Varaxis, he's not exactly winning any popularity contests.
Yeah, from what we've heard, he sounds like a real piece of work.
He's alienated pretty much everyone, the nobles, the merchants, even the common folk.
So it's only a matter of time before things boil over.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happens. A rebellion erupts.
Against Varaxis.
Yep, the people have had enough of his tyranny and they're ready to fight back.
So where does Geralt fit into all of this?
He's still focused on getting his swords back, but he can't ignore the suffering around him.
The Witcher Code compels him to help.
Plus, he sees how Varaxis is abusing his power, and he can't stand for that.
So does he join the rebellion?
Not exactly. He doesn't want to get caught up in the politics of it all.
But he still helps out.
Oh, yeah. He uses his skills to gather information, disrupt Varaxis' plans, and generally sow chaos.
A Witcher spy working from the shadows?
Pretty much, he's a one-man wrecking crew.
But he's still got to find those swords.
Right. And his quest leads him to some unexpected places and allies.
Does he find them? The swords? I mean,
He does, but it's a long and dangerous journey.
I bet there are some epic fight scenes along the way.
Oh, yeah. Sapkowski doesn't disappoint in that department.
So what about Varaxis and the rebellion? What happens there?
Well, let's just say that Varaxis gets what's coming to him.
Good riddance.
And Karak eventually finds peace, though not without some sacrifice.
You know, it's amazing how Sapkowski manages to weave together all these different elements. The political intrigue, the magical mysteries, the personal struggles. It's what makes Season of Storms such a captivating read.
Yeah, it's a story that stays with you long after you finish it.
And it adds a whole new dimension to Geralt's character.
We see a younger, less experienced Geralt, but he's still the same compassionate hero at heart.
Even though it's a prequel, Season of Storms enriches the whole Witcher saga.
It gives us a deeper understanding of Geralt's motivations, his values, and his journey.
And reminds us that even in a world of magic and monsters, it's the choices we make that truly matter.
Choices and consequences, that's a theme that runs throughout the entire Witcher series.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to cover in Season of Storms. It's been a wild ride.
Absolutely, one of the best Witcher novels out there.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
if you haven't read Season of Storms yet, I highly recommend it.
It's a must-read for any fan of the Witcher universe.
And if you're already a fan,
Uh,
well, then you know what I'm talking about.
It's a story that will stay with you long after you finish the last page.
So until next time, keep exploring the world of The Witcher and keep those silver swords sharp.